Advice for Asian men, how to succeed as an Asian male in the West. Welcome in, much love. Trav here, gonna have an in-depth discussion on how to achieve your full potential in society as an Asian male despite all the roadblocks in your way, which we're not gonna complain about, but we're gonna make ourselves aware of so we can leap over them, climb over them, dig through them, bust through them. You go out, succeed, and get the life that you want to get. So I have another video you should check out if you're interested in this, called How to Succeed as an Asian Male in the West. I threw that up, went pretty in depth. We're going to go into some of the same topics, but I'm also going to share some experiences I just had from 3 months in Hawaii with you. And that video, How to Succeed as an Asian Male in the West, got some extra attention on Reddit, on Instagram, had some people writing me about it. So I wanted to go not necessarily more in depth than that, but more in depth in new direction. But basically, the issues, most of the issues facing an Asian male is sexual discrimination, right? There's certain issues where, okay, there's reverse diversity laws, there's too many Asians coming into university, there's too many Asians coming to the workforce, we need to reduce these quotas. That's a real thing and a real issue, and we're going to talk about that. Again, we're not bitching about it, but we're making ourselves aware. The other is this history of past sexual discrimination. Not 100% sure why or where, other than people are racially tribal. That's okay. We're not going to scream racist. We just need to make ourselves aware. We look at all the laws that around Asians and Asian men. You know, the history of the immigration to the U.S., so many Asian men were taken over to work in the railroads, and it was illegal, miscegenation laws, illegal for these men to marry white women. Then they put in this Chinese Exclusion Act that prevented Asian women from coming, so all these Asian men were stranded single, doing all these other stuff, well, like the pigtail laws in San Francisco, cutting off Asian men's hair, cutting off basically the phallic top notch. Is very emasculating. And then you look at the media today, which has changed a little bit, but mostly like, so, I mean, you know what it is, but emasculation of the Asian male through that. Partially my theory of that is basically like how the majority wants to control Asian men or minorities in general. The Africans and black people were over-sexualized. They were used as, you know, basically farm animals through the slave trade, and were sexualized as, you know, reproduced as much as possible to have more slaves. It's a real thing that happened. I believe that basically, you know, the white people, and I'm, you know, my parents, my mother's white. I like white people. I spend a lot of my time with white people. I'm not mad, and if you're white, you don't need to be guilty hearing this, but y'all didn't want to repeat the same mistake and create jungle fever and so on. It sounds absurd. It is absurd. And went a different approach by attacking the sexuality instead, because it's not a genetic thing. We've got billions of us over there. It's been a history of cultural sexual discrimination, bringing us into today. So today, being an Asian male is a massive disadvantage sexually in most places. And we know this actually as a fact because we have so much data on online dating. It's not good for you to be an Asian male. It's not good. It doesn't help you get a job. It doesn't help you get into school. It doesn't help you get a wife, girlfriend, and kids. It hurts in all those areas, right? So now we have an idea of what's against us. So I'm going to repeat some of the advice that I gave in the How to Succeed as an Asian Male video. The first thing I think is you have to change your mindset and educate yourself. The media has not been your friend, has not helped you, has not given you true Asian role models. You need true Asian role models to look up to. You need to study the history, right? World history is not going to teach you. So if you're Chinese, study some Chinese history. If you're Japanese, study some Japanese history. Look for powerful men that you can emulate a little bit throughout history. Forget everything you've heard about Genghis Khan being some terrible person. Go back and look at him and read his biography. Educate yourself on Asian masculinity. You have to do this, right? You may not have done this. It won't be done for you. You have to do some self-study and go out and find it. That's important so that you have some role models to follow. Because again, the media is not going to give it to you. And your parents, if you have an Asian dad, that's great. That's someone you can follow, but also that's just one person. And they may they haven't necessarily integrated as well if you're full Asian. So they may, that's not necessarily the complete answer. That's going to help though. Okay. So the main thing is educate yourself. Another piece of advice I gave is it's going to help you if you go to locations where people are more interested in you. And I found this to be true in Hawaii. A certain data says that 90% of white women just do not want Asian men, something like some absurd statistic I read like that. On the other hand, there's some data that the most searched porn by women in Hawaii is Asian men, basically Asian. It's good to know that certain locations, and I felt it to be real, there's going to be a different feel towards you. As for the Hawaii factor, I don't know if people are moving there because they want Asian men or just by being there, basically they realize that or they're there to begin with. You just see more mixing. People have a desire to mix. The Asian tribe is stronger there. There's better models of masculinity for Asian men. I'm not entirely sure why, but that's a real effect. I'm not saying you should move to Hawaii because there's such thing as microclimates, microenvironments. It may mean living in a certain neighborhood where the Asians live, or in between where the Asians and the white, or Asians and black people live, if such a thing exists, right? Congregating with your people, or between your people, bridging the gap, right? It might mean living on the West Coast or the East Coast versus living in the Midwest, right? There's certain places where you're going to be more advantaged, and I find the West Coast to be not so bad compared to how some other places could be. So you need to think about some geography, right? Now, I'm going to give you some advice that is not regurgitated, that is new, that is not from my previous video, and this is the main thing. Okay, the odds are stacked against us. There's a big fucking surplus of us. Asian women don't necessarily want us as a group. White women don't necessarily want it. They've been brainwashed, right, by the media. That's okay. But jobs don't want to, government, the country isn't that excited to have us here, right? No one's necessarily that excited. I'm not telling you this to be a downer, but you just need to be aware. And what this means, I think, is the mindset that you need to have, that you're not going to give up, but you should have a chip on your shoulder. One, I want to prove everybody wrong about me. I want to prove myself right about me. And I'm going to be so exceptional that race just becomes not a factor. I'm going to be so effective at doing my own thing. I'm going to have so much self-love. I'm going to be in such good shape. I'm going to have the job that I want, the career that I want, the business that I want, making the money that I want. And I'm going to be able to have the relationship that I want because I'm so fucking exceptional. If people want to overlook all the other good shit about me because they're racist, awesome, good for you. I didn't want you anyways, right? Go fuck yourself. You've been brainwashed by all this shit, right? So that's really the mindset that you need to have. It's I'm going to not be a little bitch. I'm not going to be a little whiner. I'm not going to be a little downer. I'm going to be aware of the situation. I'm going to raise up my people. I'm going to be the one to make it happen for me in my lifetime. I'm going to have better habits than everyone. I've got a chip on my shoulder. I'm going to put in more work. I'm going to be more exceptional, make myself more exceptional, put myself out there, share, be honest, be frank, go to places that help me. I'm going to study my history, study Asian masculinity, and I'm just gonna go out and fucking conquer despite all the odds against me. And it's a challenge, it's a greater challenge, but I enjoy it because greater challenge creates greater character, right? You're forged by fire. I'm gonna be forged by fire. I'm gonna have a chip on my shoulder. I'm gonna come up and win despite all the bullshit, right? So that's, I think, how you need to think to succeed as an Asian male in the West. If you have any questions about it, then you leave a comment. If you've made it this far, I'd like to hear your comments. One thing I wanted to mention on, because I've seen a lot of discussion on this sent my way from my video, is the idea of Asian male, white female offspring versus white male, Asian female offspring. I don't know how relevant this is because y'all are brothers either way, but there's this theory, and I find this to be true because I've got a Chinese father and a white European mother, that Asian men, white female offspring do better because, for various reasons, but basically because we have a better model to follow, because we have an Asian man to teach us how to be an Asian man versus a white man who can't really teach us how to be an Asian man when society perceives us as Asian man. So have some problems there. I think that can be true, but I don't want to fixate on that too much because you can't change who your parents are. You can't change your situation. I do want to warn the Asian women, white men, to be like, think about that before you have the kids, or think about that with how to raise the kids. But if it doesn't matter too much, like if you are offspring of white man, Asian female, I want to see you succeed. We want to see you succeed. And I think for you, it's especially important to go, because your mother's not a man, right? You have to go through history and find models of Asian masculinity, again, because your dad just can't really teach it to you because he's not. And that's okay, but it's just especially important that you do self-study, because the media is not going to teach you. You're going to have some weird experiences otherwise. So, you need to embrace that and go look back through history, and I think it will be all right for you. So I appreciate you. I look forward to hearing what you have to say, and I'm excited to hear in the comments. So should be good. It'll be all right. It's possible. It's possible to succeed, but you have to come with this mindset where you're going to make it happen for yourself, because society is not. So go out and fucking conquer. Peace. Much love. Look forward to hearing what you have to say.